have zero interest in rest or respite. It's bullshit, cowards. Even the idea of resting aggravates my mind.
Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life.
I don't take any days off.
Put your head down and just work. For the next 10 years, enjoy eating shit and dirt and bleeding and the grind. Have 4 jobs. Fucking Wendy's, Walmart, your side hustle, work.
Hustle culture. A movement that romanticizes hard work over everything else. A movement that tells you that you have to be productive 100% of the day. Wake up early and never waste time. A movement that tells you to cut out anything that doesn't make you money. No sleep, no hobbies, no friends. Just work, work, work. Be the hardest working person you can be. Then you will reach everything. Financial freedom, Dubai trips in 5-star hotels, luxury cars and watches. But what if hustle culture was actually dangerous? What if working too hard could actually damage you? Or even worse, kill you? And what if after all it wouldn't even work? Welcome to the toxic world of the hustle culture. Entrepreneurship has become really popular over the last years. Especially during the pandemic in 2020 and 2021, a lot of people started a business. Side hustles like dropshipping, affiliate marketing or Instagram theme pages got huge and tried by many people. At the same time, a lot of finance and productivity influencers like Iman Gadzhi or Mark Tilbury popped up. These are only examples, of course there are a lot more. YouTubers like this make videos about how you can make money, get rich and live the same lifestyle as they do. And yes, there's technically nothing wrong with that, but influencers like this always give you the feeling that entrepreneurship is the only correct way to go. They tell you which method you should use to get rich, they talk about how you should be different than the normal people. Some of them even talk about how school supposedly manipulates you into being a mindless worker and how you have to escape the matrix and free your mind. A common theme here are that 9-to-5 jobs are the worst thing you could ever get. They enslave you and take your freedom away, they make you a complete loser and everyone should start a business. Of course, there's nothing wrong with people preferring to be an entrepreneur over a 9-to-5 job. The problem here is that it's getting pressured onto people that starting a business is the only correct way and everything else is wrong. This especially affects the younger generation because they are still developing their identity, finding out who they truly are and what they want to do with their life. This outer pressure from influencers could lead to them choosing a path for their life that is not decided based on what they like or want, but a path that is chosen based on what they think is right. But as always, the answer is not that simple. Humans are different. There is no correct path. There are a lot of people that are not made for running their own company and everything that comes with it, like having to schedule your own day or taking responsibility for employees. A lot of people just like the safety of a normal job, the fixed work hours and not having to schedule their own day. But some people do not at all, and that's okay as well. Humans are different. But here's the problem with hustle culture. Hustle culture refers to the idea that working a normal job is not enough and you should always do more. People that live the hustle culture lifestyle often have multiple jobs, a side hustle and work from standing up in the morning until going to sleep late at night. Being productive is most important. Hobbies, meeting friends or relaxing are seen as waste of time. Often these people compare each other based on who is the hardest working person. This increases the pressure to work as hard as you can even more, but long term this lifestyle can strongly affect your health. But how big of a problem is it? A recent study by the World Health Organization showed that already working more than 55 hours a week can have negative effects on your physical and mental health. A lot of people in the hustle culture work way more than that. For example, people that try to work as much as they can often work until late at night. This starts to affect their sleep schedule and many of them only get less than 5 hours sleep at night. This lack of sleep already has a lot of negative effects, like limiting cognitive functions, which leads to difficulties concentrating and poor decision making, a higher likelihood of anxiety and depression, it weakens your immune system and. So sleep is not really a thing you should sacrifice, because it's actually very important. You may know how it feels like if you have something important to do but you are so tired that you can't concentrate. Normally, you should go to sleep here or just simply rest, but most of the people in hustle culture don't do that. The opposite is the case. The lack of sleep is romanticized. It is seen as proof that someone is truly working hard. Sleep is seen as waste of time because in that time you could also work, and by the time you're sleeping, your competitors are beating you. This and similar behavior is called toxic productivity. Toxic productivity is when someone has the belief that you must be productive 100% of the time to succeed. Symptoms of this are things like constantly thinking about work even though you are doing something else, feeling guilty or getting anxious when you are not being productive, and ignoring basic needs like eating, social interaction, and again, sleep. This toxic productivity has a lot of negative effects on your health and well-being, such as physical health problems like chronic tiredness, a weakened immune system, and an increased risk of illnesses because you neglect self-care. Ironically, overworking can also lead to reduced productivity, but more on that later. It also affects your mental health and leads to problems like stress, anxiety, and an increased chance of depression and the risk of burnout. But how does burnout actually look like? Burnout is a state of complete mental, physical, and emotional exhaustion. A lot of people, especially in the hustle culture, think that burnout is made up and just an excuse to stop working. But that is not true at all. It has real physical symptoms like constantly feeling tired, getting ill more often, and feeling physical pain like headaches or muscle tensions. It even weakens your cognitive abilities. People with burnout struggle to concentrate, make decisions, or remember things, which leads to a strongly decreased performance when working. In addition to all of this, burnout weakens and harms you mentally by causing a feeling of being overwhelmed, constant sadness, frustration, dissatisfaction, and by making you unable to deal with normal daily demands. Burnout is often the result of overworking and neglecting your own personal and basic needs. If ignored and not treated, a lot of the previously mentioned symptoms become chronic, including heart diseases, diabetes, depression, and anxiety. So if you notice some of these symptoms in your own life, it is important to take a break and seek professional help. So as you see by now, overworking and hustle culture is toxic to our physical and mental health. But what if working less and more mindfully would actually lead to greater productivity? A research has shown that there is a correlation between overworking and the productivity levels of employees. According to these studies, the productivity level is higher if you work for less than 40 hours a week instead of working more than 50. There are other examples that show that working a small amount of time actually makes you more productive. For example, there were studies that tested the 4-hour work week in a lot of countries. The results showed that employees in the program had reduced levels of stress, were less tired, happier, and more satisfied, and had greater productivity. So simply, the 4-hour work week meant that they got more done in less time. So just working hard and long enough doesn't seem to be the key here. And it makes sense if you think about it. How are you going to be focused and concentrated if you sleep 4 hours every day, work all day, and don't get rest? Our brains are just not made for this. Our cognitive resources are limited, and working too much leads to cognitive overload, a state in which the brain is overwhelmed by the amount of tasks and information and reduces its ability to perform well. It needs rest to function normally, and if you refuse to rest, you can really damage yourself, especially then if you do creative tasks. So, if working too much is so unhealthy, how can you do it better? Working enough to reach your goals while maintaining a healthy and fulfilling lifestyle can be very hard, but here are some things that can help. Set clear goals. Try to set clear goals for smaller time frames, for example, something you want to have done at the end of the month. This will help you to stay on track and keep you motivated. Prioritize tasks. Instead of just trying to work more, you can prioritize the tasks that are most important to reach your goal. Time management. Writing down what your tasks are for the day and planning out all tasks with the help of a calendar can be a simple way to save time and focus on the things that are truly important to you. In your calendar, you should not forget to include clear breaks and time frames in which you don't work to reduce the chance of overworking. In your free time, do things that you like and don't deal with your work. If you then get to work, limit distractions so you do the work efficiently. Of course, achieving your goals takes hard work, and sometimes it will happen that you work too much. But hustle culture is just too much. It makes you create a lifestyle that is toxic for you and really damages you in the long term. Is this really worth it? If you like my video, why haven't you subscribed yet? But don't worry, that's no problem. You can just, of course, do it now. And if you like this one, I'm sure you will also like the next video that now shows up in the screen. So see you there.